When it comes to healing, there's one thing that we have going on in the modern world that I think a lot of us take for granted, and we don't even understand how critical and sacred and important it is for our healing process and for the healing processes of our entire ancestral line. And it is not what you think, because I'm like, if I were hearing this, what would I be thinking of? I'd be thinking of the internet. I would be thinking of, I don't know, electricity, things like that, but that is not it at all. The secret is literacy. Being able to read and write is absolutely critical to healing, in my opinion. I mean, people can heal without that, but if you can read and write, it opens up a whole new series of doors to you. This is something really interesting that I learned a few years ago. It talked about how Western civilization is the only civilization that could possibly have led to the culture that we experience today and to the inventions that we enjoy today, the lifestyles that we enjoy today. And it attributed this to the novel. Now, of course, the first novel was written in Japan. That's my understanding, Murasaki Shikibu. But really it was kind of the Western European world that really took off with novels and really went crazy with them. But what is the thing about novels? Novels put you into the mindset of another person in a really thorough way. It opens up a world of empathy that is literally not possible to open up for someone who does not have access to literacy and books and the culture of novels. Okay, this is where our entertainment situation has come from. It was birthed by the novel concept of telling a story in a long format in writing, where we're exploring the emotional responses of a different person to whatever is going on in this fictional story, right? But we're having to actually put ourselves into the shoes of somebody else and think in a whole new way. That's the secret. It makes you think in a whole new way. And this is a big reason why the lives that we live right now are so different from the lives of people long ago. So much of this has come from the differences in our brain structures, from being able to read and from having the written material that allows us to practice putting ourselves into other people's shoes. This is really interesting. I'm just kind of like it just came into my brain to share it with you, but IQ, okay, I think the number is 90. If you have an IQ under 90, they say that it is like impossible to understand hypothetical conditionals. Okay. What does that mean? A hypothetical conditional means if I would have missed breakfast today, I would have been hungry. Okay. That's a kind of a complicated thought. If you tell somebody who, has an IQ of lower than 90, this concept, they're going to say, what are you talking about? I had breakfast today. They can't even comprehend this. But reading helps your brain put together these different neural pathways that make you understand a whole lot of things in a whole new way. It's going to expand your ability to comprehend everything in the whole world. The more you can read, the more diversely you read, the more neural pathways you're going to have that are going to help you comprehend everything in the world. Why is this important? Because your own soul is full of all sorts of stuff that you don't even know about. All of us are carrying so much weird stuff from our own childhoods. And think about your own childhood. Is there stuff from that time that you still don't understand? Stuff that maybe you don't even remember, and you know that you don't remember it? Like, I have stuff like that. But reading a wide variety of information allows your brain to create new storage folders for all sorts of things. And when we read a bunch of stuff, our brains are able to draw these connections. It's like, oh, your life experience, that reminds me of Jane Eyre. Like, oh, that reminds me of Pride and Prejudice. That reminds me of this. And your brain starts to create all these different structures for sorting all of the information that exists. You start to sort it and make sense of it. Now, I don't have yet a session specifically devoted to the organizational systems in the brain, but I think about it every single day, and I really want to do it because I think that would really improve the lives of basically everyone to have that session available. When your brain can sort information and put it into a structure easily, your entire life gets a lot easier. It really does. But today we have another session that is kind of a runner-up to that session that doesn't exist yet, and that is the reading comprehension session. And I love that session so much. I did it because my own son really struggled with reading comprehension. I don't know. I do know. I think that he was injured by some little interventions he had as a baby. When he was 18 months old, he got all the 18-month-old thingies, and he lost milestones, and like he was a mess. I was terrified. At the time, I didn't know any ingredients of those things, and I didn't know anything about them, but I knew that I had damaged my child, and we worked really hard to kind of get him back. And I feel like he's like neurotypical and everything, but that reading comprehension has just like never been like quite what it needs to be, in my opinion. I'm like, come on, man, we gotta get it. If you can't comprehend what you read, you have a big problem, right? And that means that the organizational folders in your brain are not going to be as optimal, which means that you're not going to be able to make sense of the things that happen to you, which means that you're not going to have the structures inside of yourself to make the optimal decisions that you need to make. That was a whole lot all in a row. But the point is, the reading comprehension session, that's why I did it. I did it for my son, but it is a powerful session and it is crazy. And the thing that I didn't expect with this session was that in the middle of it, I saw all sorts of ancestors show up, and they cried. I feel like I'm going to cry. They cried because so many of them were illiterate, and they said, please teach us to read. And man, if you're new around here, welcome. I cry about a lot of things, but I work as a medical intuitive, and during a session, these things kind of happen, and I get these images in my mind and these understandings that we work through together and help clear them from all of our systems. But I saw those ancestors show up, and in this session, we help our ancestors develop literacy on a spiritual level. And it is incredibly powerful. And tomorrow we'll talk a little bit more about that for them. But today I want to talk about it for you and for your own children, because I mean, I think all of the adults can benefit from having better reading comprehension, but also our kids need it too. So this is a great one. Today, my goal was that we would just do it for ourselves. But if you have kids around, if you have kids in your life, this is something that you can do for yourself and then on behalf of your children, or you can actually have your children listen along with you, and you can just have the audio playing in the background as you do the dishes, you fold your laundry, you drive around. And that can be a really powerful way to clean out the stuff that needs to go, that's blocking better reading comprehension. But you will see for yourself that as you clear out the blocks to better reading comprehension, you and your family that also comes along for the ride are going to experience a much better understanding of the world in general and of themselves in general. The thing with the reading comprehension session that is so interesting is that I've had a bunch of people use it. They use their intentions to use it for other things. And so one big example is astrology. Astrology is another language. You have to learn it like you're learning Greek, okay? And you got to learn all the little symbols, and you got to look at the charts, you got to look at the math and the numbers, and you got to know the mythology, and it can be hard. But I've had a number of people watch the reading comprehension session with the intention of it helping with their reading comprehension of an astrological wheel, and they have reported that all of a sudden things just like made sense. It just started to click, you know, and that's the thing that I've heard about this session. It makes reading click. It makes comprehending things start to click. And comprehension, I don't know, what is more important than that? I don't know. I guess my Virgo is showing. I'm a Virgo sun, and comprehension is my obsession. I have Mercury next to my sun also. It's not that close, but they're both in Virgo, and I just want to understand everything, and to me that gives life meaning. But I think everyone in the world is really better off the more that they understand about the world that we're in. The more you understand about the world around you and the world inside of you, the better off that your life is going to be. So that is the message that I wanted to leave with you today. Go read, go to the reading comprehension session if you want to. The link is below. You totally don't have to, but I'm inviting you to. And if you do, go share about it in the Facebook group, Intuitive Healing with Ali Duzette. I really would love to hear how that goes for you. Today, we're doing it specifically for ourselves, even though it has that ancestral portion in it. Tomorrow, we're going to do it again from the beginning with the intention of having the whole thing bless our ancestors. And we're going to see what changes we notice in ourselves, what changes we notice in our family. Okay, so this is really exciting stuff. I'm just so glad you're along for the ride. We are changing the world. Every time you change yourself, every time you improve your own self, you are improving the quality of the entire planet. You really are. Maybe in a tiny way. I'm going to put it in quotations because the thing is that the goodness that we do now, it might be little, but it adds up over time, compound interest, and we're creating a waterfall that's going to wash everything. We're in the middle of this incredible journey. We're going to bless everybody. And it starts with blessing ourselves. So this is so good. You heal yourself. As you do that, it gives permission to everyone else around you to start healing themselves too. So keep going. You're doing amazing. And I'm going to see you tomorrow. I can't even wait.